Good day and welcome back to the channel, folks. Today we return back to the 1980s, 1990s, depending on which era of car you remember this in, but this was an iconic car from my early days. The Ford Sierra 500. Absolute monster of a motor. Came in various different guises. It came as a 4x4, came as the Sierra Sapphire with a different body shape. This was what we referred to as the jelly mold. It runs Cosworth engine parts. It runs all the race bits and pieces. We've fully upgraded it. It looks the part. It is an absolute weapon. We need to find out what it happens and how it goes like at Le Mans. Let's check out the settings. So at 696.97, it's a little bit short of the 700 target, and it seems to be down on horsepower at 442 brake horsepower. It's running racing medium tyres, fully customizable suspension, all set to default. We have the fully customizable diff, all down on the rear gear, down to 555. Suspension is complete there, so downforce we're running 165 on the front. We could actually tune that a little bit more, but we're going to try and run it with that higher downforce setting. The rear is set to 250, that's the absolute maximum. Fully customizable ECU, not restricted. Power restrictor, no restrictions. Fully customizable racing transmission at 280. Set for the top speed. Again, we might just have to flex that, but let's see how that goes. Top speed's only going to be an issue in two areas on the track, and that should be tuned just nicely enough to hit that top end. High RPM turbocharger. We've got the option for anti-lag, but we're not running it because we want to save on that fuel. Racing intercooler, air cleaner, silencer and exhaust, all at racing. Racing brake system, racing brake pads. We've got the brake balance controller there set all the way to the front. I'm just going to balance that up to start the race, see where it goes. Racing clutch and flywheel, carbon prop shaft, every available engine tuning upgrade, the full reduction on the bodywork and the increased body rigidity. Let's get to the track. Oh, before we go anywhere, front lip, spoiler, side skirts, rear valance in full, and the rear wing. Everything is on there. And here we are at the circuit, the exciting times of the World Touring Car 700, the 24 hours of Le Mans in 30 minutes, so we get a full simulation. So for the first two races, we've actually seen us in the dry, not really interacting with the rain, and that was kind of deliberate to get you into the race, but that's not a true event. This race is actually beset with variable weather, and I know some of you have raced this before. And new to the game this time is a weather radar before we start the race. On the left hand side you can see the colours relating to the strength of rain, and if we zoom in and out we can actually see a little bit of a weather forecast, and it's sort of saying in the last 60 minutes and the last 30 minutes we can see there's been absolutely no weather whatsoever. As you zoom in and zoom out, there has been no weather at all. So it's historic coming up to the current time, and that tries to give you an indication of what's coming. It doesn't tell us anything really in my impression, but every time you start the race just double check that and see where we're at. So settings for the race, assists, traction control 1, default ABS. We are grinding, so ASM and counter steer is going on. If we were doing any other sort of racing against people, racing online, we wouldn't be using ASM and counter steer. But because we want this to be as easy as possible, we're here to make credits. We're here to buy new cars. We're here to save up. We want to win as much as we can from every event. Controller settings. Controller steering sensitivity on 5. Force feedback max torque 5. Force feedback sensitivity 6. Always struggle with that. I don't know why I can't get it right. Anyway, we have purchased already intermediates and wets because we might need them. Let's see where we go. Let's dive straight in. So then, first thing we need to do, folks, is check the fuel map. I'm going to take that down to fuel map 3. See where that puts us. Need to get that to 3 laps. He's got there really quite quickly, which is good. Not as quick as the previous two cars to get to the first part of the race. Mr. Bishop there just giving us a brake check. This car is more than capable of keeping up with this field of GR4 cars. The pedigree of this car, if you don't know, is a racing background. It was one of the prominent touring cars of the late 80s, early 90s. Holds a close affection spot in most car guys' brains and hearts and souls back from that day. I do remember this car being pretty majorly competitive in the British touring car scene. Fuel looks to be kind of okay. We'll just check where that is shortly. It needs to be 2.5, 2.5 at the bottom end of this straight. And it looks like it's gonna make it. We came in a little bit hot there. Just tapping off on the Subaru, which nobody seems to mind. Get past the Ford, fellow Ford, and get past another iconic car of its own rally days and GP touring car days, is the old Evo. So the weather looks to be clear and bright. Fuel is absolutely spot on for where we want to go. Brake balance is cool, fairly even tyre wear all around. Rain gauge looks clear, but that's where we're going to leave the radar for now. We've got to find the right opportunity in the clouds, between the clouds, to choose when to pit and when not to, etc. Currently in 9th place, chasing down the BMW M4 of Mr. Lopez. We're aiming for 7 laps today. I don't think this car has the legs to do the full 8. But it's time limited, so whatever the 30 minutes brings. Nobody will be going to the pits just yet, I don't think. Handles beautifully through there. Once you've run this race a few times, you'll really get to know that closing sequence. Just coming through those 2 chicanes, they slow you down turn after turn, and give the grandstand a huge opportunity to see and hear the engines of the cars as they accelerate from low speed to full speed as they go past through that start finish. Absolutely phenomenal scene. The noise of the car makes up such a key component of any race weekend. So that's us up into 5th place. We're now going to charge on. The sky is still virtually cloudless. There are clouds there, but there doesn't seem to be any threat of rain at this time as we skirt down the outside of the circuit. Get a little tap from Mr. McEwen as we try and close it off, but there we go. Portilla in front of us. We're probably going to outbrake him just now. Not probably, we do. going to chase Mr. Blazan down now. We are going to flick through to the fuel map and see where we are. We've got plenty of fuel. Plenty. Let's rev the car through the rev range. Chasing him down. That Swift has got a little bit of go, you know. And this Ford Sierra Cosworth has just as much, and it's equal to the power of that Suzuki Swift. Nothing on the rain radar as we chuck ourselves into first place. Fuel is absolutely spot on for the race strategy we're aiming to run. The only thing that's gonna get in the way is the rain, as and when it comes, and you know it will. We don't get a forecast, we just get a current. We'll see where it's coming from. And here it comes from the right hand side, as anticipated. We knew it would come, we just didn't know where it would come from. Now it gives us a quandary. Do we need to stop just yet and change tyres? Do we? We're out in the lead. Sometimes it's good not to be quite so far out in the lead, because you want to see what your competitors are doing. We just get the hammer on going through here. We've got the perfect amount of fuel to do what we want to do. Now there is some heavier looking rain in there. Are we stopping for tyres? I don't think so. I don't think so. It could be a mistake. No, it only looks like small dotting. I don't think we need to stop at this time. We do need to stop the next lap round. I've probably said this before in the previous videos, but this doesn't make this, the whole rain setup doesn't make this one of my go-to grinding races. The rain makes it more of a lottery, I think is the right expression. It's definitely greying over now as the clouds approach. Looking to spot the braking marker at 181 miles an hour as the car just decides to have a twitch as we change down to fourth. The sound of the engine, actually. 2 litre I think it is, might be 2.5, can't remember. As we race into the clouds, into the rain. We've got no rainwater on the depth gauge, but it looks like there's a couple of spots are backing away. Looks like we're going to get some physical rain now. Yes, we've got rainwater on the rainwater chart just below me down there. nothing to stop these race tyres performing up their optimal. We are 12 seconds ahead as we get a little bit of heavy stuff. We are stopping next pit stop, so there's nothing we can do to avoid the fact that we've got to go to the pits. There's nothing in our way at this point to prevent us going full bore. Fastest lap of the race is ours. A 4:10.948 with the outlap being a 4:10 as well, which was marginally quicker than this lap. So this is our in lap. There's no end to the rain in sight, but the rain isn't particularly heavy. We can only go off what we know, so we're kind of hoping we get an indicator. It looks like the rain's running out at the bottom of the screen, so if it's running out and moving up, there's a chance we can look to be a little bit guaranteed that the right choice is going to be to stay on the racing tyres. When you're putting in purple sectors, you know you're not going slowly. Yes, the end of the rain is running out. So let's get into the pits, be confident about the tyre choice we're going to make. Then we just have to watch the radar again. "14 seconds in the lead." We're going to go to mediums and we're going to take all the fuel. We're at 6%, 0.1 laps. That's pretty good. That's nice and tight and close. Who is going to stop? Who isn't? With a 14-second lead, that's pretty decent. There's a number of other cars out in the pit lane waiting to receive their competitors in. Lots of people coming in, everybody from the top 8. We're the only top 8 medium tyre runner. Wheels come off, top wheels go on. Put in the fuel in. Mr. Mangiano goes past. I'm expecting a couple of others. Just Mr. Mangiano, there he goes. We come out of the pits as the rainwater stops. The cloud bank is disappearing off overhead. Still grey though. Maybe the wrong gear through there. I was just being cagey on the new tyres. It doesn't look like we're out of the woods yet, although the rain bank has moved on. We've still got this cloud cover, which is going to stop the track drying out. I'm expecting more rain looking at the sky. Let's go. He's actually got the hammer down as Mr. Mangiano. We're not catching him as quickly as I'd like us to. We are actually catching him, look. Mr. Portilla is 10 seconds behind us. And we know we've got to, the helicopter's back out again. We know this guy in front is going to pit. So we do have a growing lead. The sun is starting to just cut through now. As the last of that cloud disappears off the rain radar, the track isn't yet fully dry. In my experience of the race, This is the wettest part of the track we're just approaching, but there seems to be no water on the track down here at all, and no sign of any rain. Well, how often do we get this? Starting to clear up. Bright skies. Just taking it easy at this point of the race. You know you're in trouble if you hit the brakes and it doesn't stop. What we are well aware of is seconds of penalties can mount up phenomenally here just by running off the track. Choosing not to take the intermediates when you have the opportunity to can save you hours in penalties. And I say that just as we've gone past the point of penalties where you have to give your penalties up. Thankfully it's in an acceleration phase, so you don't lose a massive amount. If they'd have put it in the middle of a top speed corner or a top speed straight, you could lose so much more. So we have rain coming in from the right hand side. I think it's far enough away for us to take one more lap. We've got no indicator that we need to stop at this point, put any sort of tyres on. We're just 6 seconds ahead of Mr. Mangiano, who should be going to the pits, and there he goes. Mr. Portilla now is going to come through, and we don't 100% know how far ahead we were. We were 10 seconds ahead. Mr. Hayward's gone to the pits. There's me looking to the top left-hand corner. So 14 seconds back to Portilla almost. And there's the rain coming with some heavier rain. Oh, it's the usual telltale thing. Is it heavy or is it going to be a problem? No real opportunity to make a call to go to the pits. We could have, based on what though? Nobody else has stopped, so we're all going to be in the same boat. It looks like we're going to get one hit, one heavy pour, and it's not going to be far away. Maybe when we get to the bottom end of the circuit is when it is going to hit us. And we're just going to have to fight our way all the way back to the pits. Notice there's green bands of rain in there as well. We're going to have to push on, hoping that we don't get the full onslaught of that green patch that looks like it's coming to see us. Yep, the rain is on the way. And it's probably going to be the worst part of the circuit where we're going to get hit by the rain. Don't tend to trail bait this circuit massively. You've got enough time on the straights to make up any sort of deficit as we go 19 seconds ahead of Portilla. And that green rain band looks like it's just going to skirt to the north of us. We're just going to get the tail of it. There's not much rain on the radar right now, but it is physically raining. We can see it. The race tyres are still the tyre of choice, but it is about to get really wet as we're half a second up on the previous lap best. Here it comes. So my instinct tells me that we should be going to the pits. Here it comes, it's heavy. Our tyre is now not the best tyre. It looks like intermediates is going to be the tyre of choice. Just break down into this corner. Just let's get round it. We've got a 21-second lead. We need to make the right choices. The intermediate is the tyre of choice. We need to get to the pits just while we can. And there's what we feared. The car just doesn't want to go in the right direction we're in. We've got rear end damage. We just need to keep the throttle feathered. They're all over the place behind us, so we're not at a disadvantage. And I know it shows that the cloud bank's emptying, but we need those intermediate tyres. If we'd have just made it round, we'd have had a perfect run in, but we've lost that damage. We're going to take the inters. 1.2 laps of fuel. I think if we fuel to the end now, we've done 5 laps. We're going to be 6, 7, 8. We need to take 2 laps of fuel, I suggest. So we're just going to stop for one more, and we could run the inters all the way out if we wanted to. Run the inters to the end with 27 seconds in the lead. Mr. Portilla's coming in. It feels and sounds like it's raining so much more. We can't see the rain radar whilst we're in the pits. Tyres off, inters on. 2.2, there we go. We're in and away. And I know the rain is finishing, but look at the depth on the rain chart. If we really want to, we can come in and take these off at the end of this lap. The old traction control cutting in there. The track looks really greasy and slippy, and it can still feel it underneath the wheels. The 4x4 variant of this car would be absolutely tremendous. I wonder if they would ever bring that to the game. So, we're back on flying. We're on intermediate tyres. We've got the 2 laps of fuel we need to finish the race. There's only 6 minutes to go. We've had the 1 spin, but we're pretty much assured of this victory, as the front end twitches heavily under braking. These intermediate tyres aren't great on a drying track, but we've just got to drive adjusting to it. We could reduce the fuel map. We could also change the traction control level. But we're now just waiting on the track to dry out. And if we get it right, I mean, there's a potential we could just slip in and put the other tyres on. But we're only 32 seconds ahead. They're on the same tyres as we are. Lots of discussion about the tyres going on the forums. About the intermediates being a lot poorer than they used to be. People saying you should take the wets over the inters for any wet condition. Missed the gear there, well, double gear changed. 32 seconds in the lead. We're only going to get to run lap 7. The track is still wet. You can see it in front of us, look. Just sponging those brakes a little bit. "32 seconds in the lead. The track is still wet. Still too wet for the slicks. So we're going to run the final lap on the inters. Only the rain has made this car slower than the F40 or the Civic. But as a brief introduction to rain, I think we've had enough. I think it's been a great exposure. We've had to change to inters. We've been able to drive through one patch of rain without a need to change tyres. But we're seeing how well the inters perform. And just looking at that, look, the track is starting to dry out now, but it's still too wet for what we want to do. So we're just going to carry on with these inters and just manage our way round. We're just getting through the track extremities. Extremely wet start finish, look how wet that is. So it was the right call not to go and change tyres. We can see the dry line drying up here, just the other side of the pit lane. Tyres are just starting to show wear. There's no rain on the radar. If the boys behind then do choose to go and get tyres, well, we're assured the victory. This is going to be a 32-minute race, but it's going to be rain affected, so we can't knock it. This car itself has proven to be very capable, very adaptable. Just that one spin in the wet, which again you could put down to the driver and not the car. Let's see where we are on the fuel map. We've got plenty of fuel. 36 seconds in the lead. Have they gone to the pits? No, they haven't. They're carrying on their IMs as well. We're going to brake just before the first white sign. Going to ease the car in. Fastest lap of the race is ours. I don't think we'll see that knocked off its perch. We're 40 seconds in the lead. And there's definitely a dry line appearing, but you go wide and you go out into the wet again, so you just still got to be careful. If we'd have attempted this on dry tyres, it'd have been shocking. Definitely intermediate conditions. Greasy, slippery. Tyres are just starting to hold up. Those rears are starting to really show that they're suffering as these dry conditions dry up. That bright sun shining up off the track is quite treacherous. There'd be those moments where you were driving down here where you could potentially not see the car in front, so we just have to be careful. I know it's dreaming a bit that we'd be lapping somebody, but just going to lift off early, change down, get control of the car, cover the brakes with one foot, keep the car stable. quite majorly. Most drivers in GT Sport, GT7 drive with 2 feet, 1 foot on the throttle, the left foot always covering the brakes, and we brake left-footed. I know it's a skill, well, it's not a prevalent skill, it's not something that's naturally instinctive. You go and try it in your car today outside on the real road if you're in an auto, and you'll find you press that brake and you'll smash your head into the steering wheel. It is all about learning the force and feeling the force, but once you get that skill, it's phenomenal. I know you're taught to drive with 1 foot, but honestly folks, if you can get away from that habit of 1 foot brake, 1 foot throttle, you then have the ability to blend throttle and brake together. Here we go, here's the end of the race then. What a terrific car this Ford Escort Cosworth is. Escort Cosworth, I've used that expression. It's the Ford Sierra Cosworth. However, let's just gloss over that as the back end fishtails around. Here we go through the line to finish the race. What an epic little jelly mold that is. The RS500 came from the same stable as the Escort, but it clearly isn't one. Absolutely stunning beast of a car, very much your road touring type vehicle. Here we go, heading into the prize giving session, and we get the full clean race bonus, taking us to almost 16 million, 150 miles for the day. And there she is. We've actually skipped through the final standing, so we'll just flick back to here and go through it. A 31.48, so we just came inside that 32 minutes. That means we won't get 2 full races for the hour, but that's the race, not the process. We beat Mr. Portillo by some 40 odd seconds. We didn't lap any, but we did lap. We lapped Mr. Cato by an entire lap. He must have had some issues in the sand. He didn't get round and finished. Fastest lap of the race went to us. It was a 4:10 something. But there we go, folks. That's the choice for you. What do you think? Is that a car you'd like to use? Do you already own it? It was great to have you with us today. If you've got any suggestions, thoughts, or thinking about another car to use, please do give us a comment in the bottom. And as we move on to a further milestone in subscription memberships, please don't forget to subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, it doesn't cost you anything. It will just deliver the next mail, the next notification of our next video to your mailbox directly. But thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next one. All the best. Take care.